So you can spotlight today. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Sunita Chavendra, go ahead and unmute yourself. Sunita Chavendra. We'll start from 15.
नमस्ते जगन्नाथ।
एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म
एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म
पूर्वैरपि
मुमुक्षुभिः
कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं
कुरु कर्मैक तस्मात् त्वं
कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं
कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं
पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतं
पूर्वतरं कृतं
किं कर्म किमकर्मेति
किं कर्म किमकर्मेति
कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः
कवयो यत्र मोहिताः
तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि
तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि
यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्
यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्
कर्मणो ह्यपि बोद्धव्यम्
कर्मणो ह्यपि बोद्धव्यम्
बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः
बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः
अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यम्
अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यम्
गहना कर्मणो गतिः
गहना कर्मणो गतिः
कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येत्
कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येत्
अकर्मणि च कर्म यः
अकर्मणि च कर्म यः
स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु
स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु
स युक्तः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत्
स युक्तः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत्
Next shloka we're going to start today. Yasya sarve samarambhaः
यस्य सर्वे समारम्भाः
कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः
कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः
ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणम्
ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणम्
तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः.
तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः.
Did we translate the shloka number 18?
No, Guruji.
No. Okay. Let's do that. So we spent quite a few classes on that shloka. So translating number 18, the one who sees actionlessness in action. The one who sees actionlessness in action. Yaha karmani karma pashyet. The first quarter of the shloka. And cha, action in actionlessness. Yaha akarmani karma is wise among human beings. Saha manushyeshu buddhiman is wise among human beings. Full stop. The one who sees actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness is wise among human beings. Next sentence. That person is a yogi. Saha yuktaha, comma, who has done everything that is to be done. That person is a yogi, comma, who has done everything that is to be done. Kritsna karma krit. Okay. So the one who sees actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness is wise among human beings, full stop. That person is a yogi, comma, who has done everything that is to be done. So we have seen the meaning of all these words and we elaborately looked at this shloka. Why did we have to elaborately look at this shloka? Because kim karma kim karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha. So even scholars are deluded. Krishna is complaining and people don't understand this action properly. Like that he says. Therefore, Shankara spends time on this and therefore we are spending time on that. Okay, good. Now, this shloka number 90. So here continuing the description of a person, that wise person, previously that was said, Krishna karma krit, etc. The words were used. That wise person is further described here in this shloka. So we'll see what that is. Some important ideas are conveyed here. So here he is using a word, samarambhaha. Samarambhaha. Arambhaha means beginning. starting something is called Arambha and Samarambha. So beginning an activity, beginning an activity. And activity means what? Activity is a project, is an undertaking, which will involve a lot of actions. Like now the time has come, it's 11 in the morning, and it's time for me to cook because food has to be made. And so now I have to undertake that activity. That activity is called a Arambha and Arambha, undertaking. Now it will have a lot of actions. I have to go to the kitchen, I have to, start cooking some rice or dal and things like that. So I open the cooker. This is the Indian style, cooker and all that. I don't know. I've not seen any the Western people talking about cooker and all that. And they can have salad and they can do so many things. And of course, they do cook pasta and all that. But this cooker idea is uniquely Indian, I feel. And you just load the cooker up with all rice and dal and vegetables and this and that. They try to optimize it, and it's a nice idea. I like that. It's energy saving device, and provided we use it properly. Some people turn on the gas, and then this cooker is, and then 30 seconds later, 30 seconds later, same thing happens. I have to tell them, look, cooker is, it's already, it doesn't matter. Now you turn the gas on high, now still won't happen at the same temperature of steam inside the cooker. It will not make the food get cooked faster. You're supposed to save the energy and reduce. Once you hear that push, then you reduce the heat a little bit and let that pressure be maintained inside. And so this is an activity which has a series of actions. I want to make food is making food is an activity, and then all activities, all actions are there. So many actions are there to make the dinner ready, make the lunch ready. Okay, so that is called all those undertakings are all called Samarambha. Samarambha is an undertaking. And so why it's called Samarambha? Because every undertaking has a beginning. If you say project, means what is the start date? They will ask in company, they immediately say start date, end date. What will show me the Gantt chart? What are the milestones? This and that. They will ask all this language. Amazing, I'm saying all these things because I used to do all this so many years ago. These days I don't do anything like that. So, but it's important that Gantt chart is such an important thing, and you've got to show all the milestones, and you got to show all the effort and resource spent, and everything is there. And so, start date. So if you go to that Microsoft project, you have to say start date. Only then Microsoft project will allow you to do other things. Start date. And so because every activity has a start, the activity itself has a synonym, and Krishna uses the word Samarambha. Okay. Now that's called an activity. Now people do activities. This life doesn't move. Everything is an activity or an action, depending on how you look at it. And one activity can be part of a bigger activity. So you want to construct a house means that's a huge thing. It's a huge project. And you have to decide whether you are going to construct it or you're going to buy a house that's already constructed. So it's a decision point, and then you've got to do all these things. So therefore, now everybody does it. A wise person also does it. How do we know that? Krishna says, yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah means what? Panditasya. So this jnaninaha of the wise person, he's describing a wise person here. We're going to see that. And yes, yeah means for that wise person whose all undertakings, sarve samarambaha, all undertakings, okay, or what? They are kama sankalpa varjitaha. So varjit, this word varjit, I think many of the people in north will know what varjit is. Varjit means without, free from. है कि नहीं? हिंदी में बोलते हैं वर्जित. So these days, the corona, the test they take, RT-PCR. Then corona varjit hai ya nahi? Test. The result is what? Is it saying, are you free from corona or not? And so that varjit is a word, means free of, free from, free from. that which does not exist. So what does not exist? Kama and Sankalpa. Kama and Sankalpa. Kama, Sankalpa are absent from the activities of a person. Yes, yeah, of one. That is the meaning of this. What is Kama? Kama is desire. Kama is desire. Then what is Sankalpa? Sankalpa. Kama is desire. So it's 11 o'clock, and then we said, what shall we cook today? And any ideas are given. Finally, we decide, yeah, I think we should have noodles. Okay. So desire to have noodles is there. Then Sankalpa is there. Now Sankalpa. Now we have decided. After that, who is doing what and what are the things to be done, everything, all activities. So Sankalpa means Sankalpa translates the desire into action. Sankalpa translates the desire. Simply having a desire is useless, and somebody has to fulfill the desire. And if you are alone at home, only you are there to fulfill. You can't point fingers. Hey, come on, do it. You can't say all that. And so the guy who has the Kama also is you, and the guy who does the Sankalpa also is you. And so Kama and Sankalpa, desire and will. Desire and will. Well, you're just using the word will to say, yeah, you need to execute. You need to do something. You need to make up your mind. Okay, yes, we've decided this, and we need to go make this happen. And making this happen is called Sankalpa. And in our puja also, we use the word Sankalpa. Sankalpa. And it means making it real. You have a desire, you express the desire. I am doing this puja. Mamopata samasta duritakshaya dwara Shri Parameshwara Prityartham Corona Vishanoho Vinashanartham Ganapati Pujam Karishye. So that is Sankalpa. I am doing this puja for the sake of the benefit of these people and who have the virus. And so I'm doing this puja so they can get cured fast. So that's called as Sankalpa. Okay. So here also Sankalpa. And Sankalpa means what? I am doing all this so that I can achieve my desires. Whatever the desire is. That is called a Sankalpa. Now, previous sloka, this is talking about a wise person. Previous sloka already said Kritsna Karma Krit. Kritsna Karma Krit. So one who has done everything that is to be done. Oh, our Guruji is also a chef. Anjali. No, don't stretch too much. I can spin things also. So and yeah, I did cook for many years. That's there, but I'm not a chef and all that. And I leave those things to. I don't poke my nose into other people's affairs. And I say I know my limitations, and I go with that. So Krishna Karma Krit, one who has done everything that is to be done, one who has accomplished. So then the question is that the person, of course, knows I am a karta. That is why that statement is made. That knowledge that Atma is akarta, Atma cannot be a doer, is understood very clearly. And so, how can there be action for that person? How can there be action or activity for that person? Yeah, physically, of course, activity is always happening. But then, karmani akarma yah pashyet. And so then what is this activity that is being talked about? There cannot be any activity. Physically, there is activity, but kartrutvam wise, there is no activity. Kartrutvam wise, doership wise, there is no activity. And this is a popular belief in our culture. This is from Bhagavad Gita, is where all these things come. That, oh, that person is not a doer. Therefore, he or she, the wise person, should not do anything. So this idea of not doing comes from all this, comes from this thesis of Atma being akarta. And so Atma is akarta, therefore the wise person should not do anything. Therefore, so much emphasis is given, importance and respect is given to people who don't do anything. Means don't do anything means not our children. If our children don't do anything, we get a stick in our hands and say, come on, get up. That's a different not doing. Talking about people who are considered to be worshipful, respected, knowledgeable, and they don't talk much, they don't do anything. And so this idea that one who knows does not talk, one who talks does not know. That's the idea, right? That's the image people have. Very important. These things, we have to address all these things one after the other. That's the beauty of Swamiji. He will just say something and make you believe this, and then suddenly he will demolish that notion. Fat karke, like fat, this thing, they throw a bullet at this thing, something, a target, and then they just shoot it. Like that Swamiji used to do in classes. I used to notice class after class, he used to do that. So here is another idea. One who knows cannot talk, should not talk. One who talks does not know. So we need to understand this properly. And so if a person doesn't act, if the person comes to know this Atma Jnanam, then what? We have a serious problem. Then nobody will come to these classes. And Swamiji, so they'll come to ashram. Ashram will be empty. And occasionally you'll visit the ashram. We all will visit. Swamiji, how are you? How are things? And we forget the fact that this Swamiji is still alive and everything is going on. And but if Swamiji said, no, yeah, I think there will be a problem. The minute you know, be careful, and you will freeze, and you need special skills to unfreeze yourself and still remain a wise person. Like that, if they say, then will ask, Swamiji, I have some duties, and where will you be? Where will you be next year? And then this year I'm kind of busy. And then I think my children's marriages are coming up, etc. Next 5-6 years I'll be busy. After that, can I come to the ashram? Like that, we will start saying. And so, fortunately, it's not like that. And because if they ask the question, do you love Swamiji or do you love your life? This question is there. And you respect Swamiji, you respect everybody, and you do namaskar, everything, you give up everything for Swamiji. Can you give up your life for Swamiji? No. Life is very dear to me. So if you say something that threatens my life itself, existence, then I have to think about it seriously. Vedanta can come later. And once I'm 80 plus, I need your help, Swamiji, and that time I'll come to you. That's what we will say. And so there wouldn't be any teachers if that were the case. So this idea of not stopping, not doing anything once this Atma Vidya is gained is a funny idea. It's a wrong idea. We need to let go of that. And so clearly we have in our own culture so many people who have written so many texts after they are all jnanis. Shankara is there, Krishna is there, and Veda Vyasa is there. They've written volumes and volumes and volumes. And if you look at Shankara's works, the amount of work he has done, you can't even measure it. And that is the impact he has had. And so, where is the question of saying that activity ceases for a wise person? That idea we cannot accept. And so the person knows somebody wants to teach, and the person teaches. Person knows very clearly Atma does not teach. Atma is actionless. Atma is Satyam. Teaching is Mithya. Teacher is Mithya. Even student is Mithya. The studentship is Mithya. Everything is Mithya. Atma is Satyam. The person knows. Therefore, action is Mithya. Result of action is Mithya. The whole process is Mithya. It's very clear. And so why should a person not teach? And this is known. Why should a person not teach? And so I understood this when those days when I was studying, and we used to attend Swamiji's talks and things like that. Swamis would visit our city, Houston, and we used to attend these talks. When is this? And we used to attend all these yajnas. And I gathered this. Many people, especially in North, the amount of respect they show to a Swami, I noticed, is proportional to how much they don't talk. Okay, the amount of reverence they have. Respect is always there. I don't mean reverence. See, some of the people in the North, they're shaking their head. that we have to be a Mauni Baba. Mauni Baba means, we are close to enlightenment. That's the idea. And we've got God visiting us. But anybody who talks, okay, it's okay. Vedanta baat karta hai. Acha, dekhenge, we'll see. I'll think about it. So I figured out there. And then only when Swamiji said this, I was able to appreciate. And so the wise person really doesn't want to teach, and there is not even a desire to teach. Swamiji makes that statement. There's not even a desire to teach. Means desire defined in the manner that if I don't do this, then I will be sad. If I don't achieve this, if I don't teach, then I am going to be incomplete. I am insecure. This idea is not there for a wise person. So if teaching has to happen, let it happen. And that's a beautiful thing. That's an amazing vision that we have here. And so people are there to come. Here is a person who can teach. Here is a person who doesn't judge people based on their whatever background, and you must do this, you must not do this, etc. Such a person is just worshipful, and that's why we revere our sannyasis, our swamis, who are like that, who are just who they are, and they are ready to talk, and we are ready to listen. So it's a beautiful thing. And and otherwise what happens, this idea of being not teaching, etc., comes from the idea that teaching is satyam, action is satyam, action is satyam, everything is satyam. Mithya is not understood at all. So Vishishtadvaita, Advaita and all, that is the problem. Everything is satyam, mithya is not there at all. This jagat is satyam, this world is satyam, dukkham, sorrow is satyam, absolutely real. When I say satyam, I mean absolute real. Okay, sukham is absolute real. You must seek sukham, absolute real. And absolute sukham is not there here. Where will you get absolute sukham? Up there. So reality, Vaikuntha, absolutely real. And Vishnu is there. Vishnu Padam you must gain, and you will gain only after death also. Death is real, absolutely real. Hey, Atma, there is no death. What about that? Shouldn't we talk about that a little bit? This body is going to go away. We are not arguing that at all. But body is Satyam. Look at that. Look at the difference. This Satyam and Mithya is so important to understand. So, Vashishta Advaita and Dvaita, Satyam. Everything is Satyam. And so I am part of Vishnu. Vishnu is all pervasive. Suppose I ask him, hey, Vishnu is all pervasive or not? Yes, all pervasive. Then why should I go to Vaikuntha to meet Vishnu? Why can't I meet Vishnu here itself? Right here. Why there? So we have all kinds of questions we have to ask and answer. And so I'm in the stomach of Vishnu. Then I'm in the stomach of Vishnu means I must now pray. I must pray. Why I must pray hard? Because I must pray that Vishnu does not take any antibiotics. Because I'm like a bacteria in the intestine of Vishnu, And so, because if he takes antibiotics, then what will happen? His dose will be this big dose. And then I can get victimized very quickly. And but then other question comes: if Vishnu also has to take antibiotic, then what kind of Vishnu he is? And he is no different than me, and he is no different than other people who have fever and flu and all these things. So we get into all kinds of issues, and so therefore the person who knows this, it's karma is such an important topic. Gahana karmano gatihi. We saw that earlier, and that person, that person remains the same whether the person is doing anything or not doing anything. And kama sankalpa varjitaha. A person is free from desire and will, and there is not even a desire to teach. That's what Swamiji says, which is true. Which is why we say this is not lip service. This is what makes the difference between lip service and owning up to the vision. Completely we own up to the vision all the way. This is not just teaching something and then after the class is over, then you are somebody else. somebody else got caught up in every little thing. So we could see that in Swamiji. We could see that in Swamiji, that how that person's, how he unfolded that vision. And it's so important that we have exposure to such people. And so Swami also in this case would say, and oh, I am now wise, and so I must now save the world. I must save the world because wise people are needed, right, to help all of us. And so the person wants to save the world, and I am sent by God. God sent me to save the world. And Swami says, this is not acceptable. If somebody says, I have come to save the world, first save yourself from this person. First job. First save yourself. Run away. Then we have to find a way to save him, the person who says, I want to save the world. These two are the things we have to work on. And so, if God wants to save the world, why does God not come here? Why should he send a messenger? How can a human being save this world? God knows better. He should know all these things better. And we are not going to simply accept all these things. And so he's almighty and this and that. And he needs you to save this world. And what you talk doesn't make sense also. And I have a problem. I am now angry with God also. And you send somebody intelligent at least. And so we can have a good conversation. And so therefore that person is somebody who has time to spare, who has some knowledge to share. And that's human to say, okay, I feel like I know something and I want to share that knowledge. Whoever wants to know can know. It's a good attitude. It's perfectly normal. And to have these ideas that I am going to help a lot of people and this and that, it's just pure ahankara. And that will not happen. So some time is there, some money is there, some few good words can be shared, which helps people. That's well and good. But trying to save other people, etc., is just taking people on a wrong track, and go to heaven and all that. See, this heaven idea, we have a problem, basic problem that Swamiji points out. My problem is here and now. Are you going to help me solve my problem or not? This is a very basic, simple question. No, you are a sinner. You are damned, and sorry, we can't do anything about it. But you thanks, God has sent you to me, and you must be very thankful about that. And I will take you to heaven. This is a stupid idea, really speaking. I'm telling. Even if Hindus say like this, talk like this, it's a stupid idea. And definitely other religions are no better, and trying to drive everybody to go to heaven. This means they are just really escaping. Really, it's an escaping. I thought about it. And this is just an escapist idea. Trying to run away from all problems here. And without understanding what's what, and help me out here is what I'm saying. And you're telling me I'll take you to heaven. And now my problem is here and now. You tell me what. And then on top of that, eternal damnation also. If you don't listen to me, you will go to hell and remain in hell forever. This fear, my God, this fear is what drives a lot of these people to stay where they are. And so here we are saying, Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha, these wise people, they don't have any desire at all, really speaking. That is why we appeal to sannyasis from Swamiji, I really want to learn this, and you are the best person to teach. And the Sankalpa has to come. They are not interested, really speaking. And we have to really pray to them, and that idea that they must teach should come. And so that is why generally we say these ashrams, Swamiji did not construct an ashram and all that. People wanted it. Swamiji, I think it's time for you to have an ashram. We will make it happen. So it's a sankalpa of other people, and Swamiji says, yeah, okay, that's fine. If that's what you want, let's do it. So that sankalpa comes, and then something happens, it grows. And why? Because they are kama sankalpa varjitaha. They don't have any desire. There are times Swamiji has said, and people just bug him. I want this, I want that, this, that, and that okay. I want this is okay, but you must do this. I want this is okay. He can handle, Swamiji can handle that. Okay, everybody is wanting. But you must do this, Swamiji, you must not do this, you must not. No, you should not eat this, you should not eat that, this, that. And so this must, when people start saying, you, Swamiji, you must do this. 2 times he said, I don't allow me to be who I am. Okay, it's now Swamiji is stuck after all this Vedanta, this, that, Shankaracharya, and all that. And then people tell him what he should do, what he should not do. And he becomes a prisoner in the own ashram, because good intentions. People have good intentions. And so I've seen that happen. And so Swamiji says very simple. Vedanta is meant for yourself. Okay. Most of the time I'm sad and I'm radiating my sadness to everybody else. And so really speaking, I'm not useful at all to anybody. And Vedanta makes you a cheerful person. You are Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. And so this person is radiating joy for a change. That itself is a great service to humanity. And one person who doesn't cross stress in your life, okay, and you can have a person in your in your life, there is such a person. Wow, what a life that is. And so just that being, so that person is doing such a great service. And but Swamiji also adds, but don't keep your sadness to yourself, because if you keep the sadness to yourself, you know what happens, right? Then after some time, the cork will come out, it will burst. And so we don't want that to happen also. So you do talk about all your sadness to other people, and you know being somewhat sensitive to others as well. And so this this idea of I will save the world, etc. Swamiji demolishes upfront. And the one who says I'm going to save the world is a megalomaniac, and that person is a danger to society. And Hitler also thought, I'm going to save the world. And so we don't want such people here who think they are saving the world. And the irony is, the one who says, I'm happy to do whatever I can and whatever is needed in the time of the hour at this any given moment, that person ends up being like a lifesaver to people. And that's the irony, is it not? And so, therefore, we will read later in chapter 6, 6.4 or 5 or something. Uddhared Atmanatmanam. Krishna is going to say, you take care of yourself. Atmanam. Because Atma, you are your own enemy. You are your greatest friend. He's going to say that. Krishna is going to point back to us. And he's not going to say constantly, I'm going to save you, etc. No. You got to take the initiative and think through and help yourself. And that help you, no doubt. But Uddhared Atmana Atmanam. So you take care of yourself, you help yourself. Like that, he's going to say later. So, so therefore, Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha, and all the Samarambhas, all those undertakings are free from Kama and Sankalpa for this person. And some words are going to be used by Krishna here. Such a person is called a Jnanagni Dagdha Karma. That word Jnanagni Dagdha Karma is a word referring to the wise person. Okay, so we need to understand that word a little bit. And how do you understand this person who has no desires, etc.? Okay, when it is said, it is like the like the seed that is roasted. Seed that is roasted, it will not sprout. So like that here, the son went to the kitchen, running to the kitchen, and the mother is wondering what. Normally this boy is always outside the home. We have to struggle a lot to pull him inside the home to do his homework, and this fellow runs to the kitchen of all places. Okay, what, this fellow doesn't know where the kitchen is. Okay, and now he runs to the kitchen, and he spent 5 minutes there, and then he goes outside and does that. What are you doing? No, I'm doing a project. What project? Teacher said you must sprout, you must put some seeds in the mud and it will sprout, it seems. I want to see the sprouts. Oh, okay, okay. Go ahead. Let me know what happens. And few days later, mom, look. This moong dal has sprouted, and moong dal has sprouted. Yeah, good. And then 10 days later, Amma, this thing is not sprouting at all. What is that thing? It's it's peanuts, groundnuts. Where did you get it from? Got it from the kitchen. Now mother knows what the problem is. Because those peanuts were roasted, honey roasted salted peanuts. Okay? And honey roasted salted peanuts. And this boy doesn't know the difference between a roasted seed and no, he knows the difference when he puts it in his mouth. Okay? Oh, this is not too little salt. Okay, that he knows. But he doesn't know that the roasted seed doesn't matter how much ever care you take it, how much ever sunshine you give, how much ever water you give, it's not going to sprout. So, like that seed, this person is a jnana agni dagdha karma. Dagdha means burnt. And what is burnt? The karma is burnt. The karma that is there in the account of this person, it's and even the this kartritvam, it's all burnt. Burnt by what? Burnt is dagdha. And burnt by what? Jnanam. Jnana, Agni, fire. Burnt by the fire called Agni. And what kind of fire? The fire of knowledge. So Jnana, Agni, Dagdha, Karma. There are four words in this one big word. And such a person is called Jnana, Agni, Dagdha, Karma. How? Because that person knows everything is Atma. And action is there, but action is Mithya. Results are there, but results are Mithya. And the whole process is there, process is Mithya. And therefore, and who am I am neither subject to karma action nor subject to karma phalam result. Oh really? What about all the karma that you have in your account? Yeah, that also is gone, because jnana actually dagdha karma, everything is gone. That's the vision here. And so that person who can see karmani karma yah pashyet, who sees actionlessness in action, need not be actionless, need not stop doing any action, will not stop doing action, cannot stop doing any action. And that person knows that I am free from action and action cannot impact me. Results of action also will not impact me. That is the vision here. And so here Swamiji also says, this is knowledge, jnanam. We should not think it is some kind of a state. The idea of state is there in our mind, any of our minds. Very exalted state, very, that person is in a high state. We use this word state. High level, they say level, state, and all these words we use. And Swamiji will not allow us to think along those lines. There is no state. Kritsna karma krit. It's not a state. It's a vision. It's a vision that there is nothing else to be done. Based on knowledge. And knowledge is final always. It doesn't allow you to imagine things. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 if it says, if there is a statement. You have to understand it. Either you understand it or don't understand it. You don't have to imagine anything here. Nothing is there to imagine here. Correct? Nothing is there to believe also here. And so, this is not a state, it's a vision. And so, therefore, that person is a kama sankalpa varjitaha, free from desire and free from sankalpa, will. And then, what about desires the person has? Well, the person will have desires. There are desires will come, but all those desires. Why desires will come? Because Ichha Shakti. Remember, Ichha Shakti is there. That's the beauty of a human being. Ichha is always there, and those desires become non-binding. Non-binding. So go back to our discussion on binding desires and non-binding desires. Non-binding means fulfillment of the desire or non-fulfillment are identical. Sukadukhe samay kritva labha labho jaya jaya. So a karma yogi himself or herself is going to have that attitude. What to talk about a wise person? A desire can be there. We can definitely take on that project. But if we don't make progress, that's the way Ishvara intended it to be. Let's do our best and maybe do something else, but then that there is no binding nature. No desire is binding for a wise person. Okay. Now, now another interesting thing here. This is a very typical expression. Tam ahuhu panditam buddhaha. Okay. Ahuhu. Ahuhu means they say. Ahuhu. So the way to split that is tam ahuhu. Two words are there. Okay. Tam ahuhu. They say. Who say? Buddhaha ahuhu. Buddhaha ahuhu. Okay. The wise people say. Okay. The wise people say. And wise people say what? Tam, that person. What person? That person whose undertakings are all free from kama and sankalpa, and that person whose karma is all burnt by the fire of knowledge. That person is a pandita. Pandita. Why is a wise person? What is this funny statement? See, suppose you want to you say, oh, she's a great architect. Suppose you say that statement, then you must know something to say, make that statement. You must know something about architecture, and you must have seen some works she has done, and you must have seen works done by other people also. So you can compare, and yeah, this is some piece, some masterpiece, and you must know the quality of their work. Just because looks are good, it doesn't mean the architecture is good. The person is a great architect. Quality must be well done, and so holistically done. Then you say this person is a great architect. So much knowledge is needed to make a statement. She is a great architect. The other alternative is you don't know anything about the person, but you can say, I heard she is a great architect. That's all you can say. Correct? Somebody is a good doctor. How do you know somebody is a good doctor? You really don't know. You've not visited the doctor at all, but you say he is a good doctor. What you mean is, I heard everybody says he is a good doctor. So everybody says, I trust all the people who say that, and therefore he is a good doctor. But so how do you know that a person is wise? Especially Vedanta. How do you know? There's only one way to know. Is you yourself should know it. Only then you can say whether a person is wise or not, jnani or not. Otherwise you can't say. You can only say, go by what other people say. And then that's why it's important to be in that kind of a culture where people kind of know. He is a Sangeeta Vidwan. How do you know he's a Sangeeta Vidwan? Sarigamapa itself, when I start chanting, there is a problem in the swara. And so, where is the question of me saying he is a Vidwan? And everybody is a Vidwan. The blind person will say everybody sees. And so, that won't work here. So, we rely on others for these things. But here, to really say that somebody is wise, you also must be wise. And therefore, here it says, Buddhaha tam panditam iti ahuhu. Buddhaha. Wise people say that he is wise. Like that they say. Very beautiful. This is a very typical expression you will find in the Shastram. Constantly we see this. And so having said that, a question is asked. Jnana agni dagdha karma. Well, will that karma return? All the karma, past account that is burnt, will that karma return sometime? That doubt can be there. Correct? That doubt can be there. And we say no, but like the seeds are burnt, and once the seed is roasted, there is no chance, and it won't come. Those seeds are for bhoga, enjoyment alone. The roasted seed is only for enjoyment. It's not for germination. Cannot be used for cultivation. Correct? And so the honey roasted peanuts, salted peanuts are good for enjoyment. Just home dalo khao. And likewise, same way, this person, jnani, the karma is all burnt off. Then what is left? Prarabdha karma is left. Prarabdha karma is left. That is what has brought this body into being, right? And So that prarabdha karma, just only exhaustion of the remaining karma, bhoga, whatever the body goes through. And if there's a lot of pain to be experienced, then that wise person will experience that pain through the rest of the life. Lot of punyam is there. I mean, lot of pleasant experiences, then life will be pleasant from then on. But it's pure bhoga. Why? Because kartritvam is not there, kama is not there, sankalpa is not there. Therefore, only bhoga. Only bhoga. So just like those roasted seeds can only be useful for bhoga, enjoyment. And so those karmas destroyed cannot come back. And so will the karmas return if you say, well, why, how did this karma come about? Karma, why this karma is there? Well, because this karta is there. The jiva considers himself herself to be a karta, a doer. Therefore, karma will be there. And therefore, and then why is the karta there? Karta is there because of ignorance. Karta is there because of ignorance. So ignorance, karta, action, karma, karma phalam, because every action has to have a result, and result is both drishtapalam and adrishtapalam. Drishtapalam is what? Whatever comes, I eat, I'm hungry, and then drishtapalam is my hunger is appeased. But that is just come and gone. But adrishtapalam goes and sticks to my account. And adrishtapalam is there, punyam or papam, and then more and more janmas. Okay, so then what about this ajnanam that caused all this? When did this ajnanam start? It's the problem, the judges are all sitting and the jury is all figuring out this case. And so they're finding out, they're asking all kinds of questions. So what about, ajnanam? Tell us when this ajnanam started. We want to go back to the source. Well, we discussed this some time ago. Ajnanam cannot have a beginning. Why it cannot have a beginning? Because if it had a beginning, before ajnanam, there should have been jnanam, knowledge. And if knowledge is there, there's really no question of ajnanam coming back. And so ajnanam has no beginning. Ajnanam is anadi. Therefore, the jiva is anadi. Therefore, the karta is anadi, beginningless. Beginningless. We're all used to a timeline, something begins, something ends. There's always a date of birth for everything. And you look at every product, it has an expiry date, manufactured, or sometimes they'll say 3 years from the date of manufacture. That's how long you can use. Some of these Ayurvedic medicines and all, I saw the other one bottle that couple of days. 3 years from the date of manufacture, that pill is good for you. So there's always a date of birth and a date of expiry. This is what we're used to. But here, this date of birth doesn't exist for ajnanam. Doesn't exist. Therefore, there have been countless births prior to this. How many births did I have before? No, you can't ask the question because it's countless. Therefore, how much karma do I have in my account? Also infinite. Also infinite. Because the idea is there. What is the idea? I want to exhaust all my karma. Very genuine intention is there. I want to exhaust all my karma. And I remember that Purva Pakshi who was there in the last class, the Purva Mimamsaka, right? His idea is I'm going to exhaust my karma. But his idea was in this Janma, I don't want to gain punya, I don't want to gain papa. He doesn't talk about the past karma at all. And here we say there is so much past karma, and you're going to add some more karma in this Janma. But past karma is going to be there all the time. And that is infinite. There is no way you can exhaust the past karma by living a few more lives. It won't work. It won't work. Why? Because there is something called agami karma. Agami karma means what? The karma that I gain in this life. The new karma that I gain is called agami karma. Karma that I'm adding. And what happens to all that karma? It goes into my account. It's called sanchita karma. Just a repeat of what we discussed many times before. Sanchita karma. That goes back to my bank account. Then what else? Then of course there is prarabdha karma. That which the portion of the sanchita karma that precipitated into this life, this body and this life. Like you curdle milk, you put lime in it, and then you stir it a little bit, and you don't know which portion of that milk is going to curdle first, and suddenly you see a strand, a strand of milk that is curdled, and like that, you don't know which karma is going to fructify, precipitate, and something creates this precipitation, and that precipitated output is called this body and this life, and that is called prarabdha karma. Correct? I'm just using a different word now. I don't think I used that word before. And so you've got these karmas, so much karma is there, and the end of this prarabdha karma does not mean the end of sanchita karma. The account is always there. That's why there is punarjanma. Punarjanma will always be there, and so that janma has to take place. And why different janmas means, for exhausting certain janmas, one must be born with a certain body, an animal body, human body also. Certain janmas have to be exhausted only in India. Some karmas have to be exhausted only in America. Some people exhaust their karmas by going back and forth between India and America. You ask them which citizen they are, they're thinking like this, because they're constantly flying from this time zone to that time zone. So you can't ask them the question what country citizen they are. And so that is the way they exhaust their karma. That is their karma, right? And so these karmas are there, so much karma is there, and all this karma gets exhausted. Jnana agni dagdha karma. Only one way to exhaust it is by closing the account. The only way the account can be closed is by knowledge. And so Krishna brings out that that message here by saying Jnana agni dagdha karmanam. Tam ahuhu. That person, the wise people call as wise. And what else can they say? And so that almost completes what we wanted to say here. Just a few more words in the next class, and that should conclude this shloka. So this shloka is continuing the discussion of a wise person that was talked about in the previous shloka. And previously it was said the one who sees actionlessness in action, and one who sees action in actionlessness, that person is a wise person, it was said. Here, further description about the wise person as somebody who is free from desire and will, kama and sankalpa, and a person whose karma is all burnt away is talked about here. So we will finish this discussion in the next class. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale vashyatu parjanyah prithvi sasyashalini deshoyam kshobarahitah brahmana santu nirbhayah. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayah sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amrutangamaya. Om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.